So never a dull moment. I just finished getting cleaned up. I've got golf later on this afternoon, golf late coming up. I'm going to drive by one property. They have a duplex in town pretty close to where I had an 8-unit apartment building that they want $329,000 for. Now, I know when I run the numbers, it doesn't make sense. Okay? This stuff, you know, I keep giggling. I've become my dad to an extent where he talks, you know, about how everything has gone up from, you know, in the 70s or whatever. But I know what a unit very similar to this sold for in 2022, and it was about half of what they're asking for this unit right in that same area. So will they get it? I don't think so. But the way things have been going up here, you know, someone from Chicago, Milwaukee comes along, sees it, you know, they might be dumb enough to buy it. I can't. I have a rule right off the bat when it comes to property. It has to support itself. Okay? I have to be able to make it work by its own numbers. I do not put my personal income into anything that I buy. Just simply, my personal income is income that I have earned, whether it's selling other units or whatever. Everything has to be able to work for itself. And if it can't, I'll wait, you know, because of the, you know, properties that come up out there, I'll look at 50 of them, 100 of them before I find the one that clicks all, you know, checks all the boxes for me. So we're going to drive by that. Then I have to stop by the bank real quick, get some papers signed on a CD that's rolling over. And, you know, that's another thing that I really believe in, is that you have to spread your assets out. I don't like to be loaded totally in one area. So, you know, what I do too is I take, about this time of year, we're middle of the year, I take the money that I've got escrowed basically for taxes at the end of the year on the properties, and I look at a short-term CD. So instead of making 0.5, you know, 0.05%, I'm making 5 point some percent. Or even 2 years ago, I did the stock market. Put it in there, pulled it out the first part of December, did very well with that in the short term. Everything is working, you know, for itself, and yet if it went down, it wouldn't have been the greatest loss in the world. So, but on the other hand, why should I leave it sitting in just a plain checking account when that can be, you know, paying my personal property taxes, if you want to look at it that way. So we work the numbers from every possible legit angle to, you know, get the maximum benefit out of our money as far as that goes. So I want to sit down. I'm going to do a drive-by of this property, and then I will sit down tomorrow and kind of run the numbers out and add that to the back of this. Once again, I ask you to subscribe. Watch the second half of this, because even if you do this stuff, you can maybe learn a thing or two. I did everything. I built everything over the years with basically the no money down concept. I read a couple books. One of the first books I ever read was by Robert Allen. And, you know, some people would like it, some people wouldn't like it, but it worked for me. The first loan, I do have to say, I bought that duplex, and that was on a WIDA loan because it was the first time I had bought a property. So at that point in time, I was able to lock in a WIDA loan for like 4.25%, thought that was absolutely great back in those days, because interest rates had gone from 15% down to like 7%. And when I started buying properties, they were right around that 7% So 4 something on a WIDA or 5 something on a WIDA was, really good. So, and from there, everything else I bought with no money down. And the numbers had to work. Then if they did, fine, I bought it. If they didn't, then it didn't get bought. So anyways, I'm kind of turning down, I'm not exactly sure where this, I think I know where this property is, but not 1,000% sure. That's Wilson. I'm hoping Roosevelt goes through down here. But like I said, I think this is absolutely, nope, McKinley. We're on Presidents, that's good. But yeah, I think that's absolutely insane what they're asking for some of this stuff. Go down, here's Roosevelt, and I would guess even me doing most of the work on it, I would need to put in $50,000 to $100,000. So here we go. We got a couple props for you. This one I think was $299, and then this one over here is the one that they want, $329. Not on water. Older gentleman must have lived in part of it, and then made it into a duplex. Just for hints, this one here I could have bought for under $200,000 2 years ago. This is a duplex also, or triplex, I don't remember which. I had the option to buy that. So that kind of gives you an idea on some of this. Some of you that are from Tomahawk here, you know how this goes. I'm about to sneeze. So, but, I've got people that are watching from India and Canada and all over the world, so I've got to kind of address this that way. So, stop at the bank, take care of that CD, then I'm going to go golf. Tomorrow morning I'll lay some numbers out for you and just show you my procedure. Of course, the first procedure that I usually do is what I just did. Just do a drive-by, then I'll schedule an appointment if I want to see it. In the meantime, I'll begin to run numbers. I am a non-emotional guy when it comes to this. If the math don't work, I don't buy. Simply put, math has to work out real well on the stuff, because I look at it this way: there's another offer tomorrow down the road, and I bought properties where I've said, okay, you want 64 for it, I'll give you 45, and we landed up settling at 47 or 48. Or I bought a duplex in Wausau, an upper lower, that I knew the guy was moving out of town, needed to sell quickly, and he wanted 47 or 48 for it, and I offered him 30,000, and we settled at 33. So I kept that about 2 years and sold it for 54. So back in those days, that was a pretty decent profit. I used part of that to build my house at the time, and so you know, it's kind of like the movie Wall Street to an extent. Don't get emotional about the numbers. I've always kind of remembered that line. All right, so I'm headed into my bank. Hit that subscribe button and check out my other videos at Perrodin the Project Specialist. Have a good day. I'll be talking to you tomorrow. Lots of stuff coming up again tomorrow. Morning there, everyone. I told you the other day, this is a continuation of, first, my Lake Geneva parking ticket. I fought that, and thank you to the Lake Geneva Police Department and whoever's ahead of that. They did expunge that and get rid of it. So thank you again for that. We did a drive-by of the property that you just saw. $329,000 is what they are wanting for that property. Okay? I'm going to tell you right out. This is kind of my first steps. I did the drive-by, and okay, it looks halfway decent shape. So now I'm going to run numbers. Principal plus interest on $300,000. I've already knocked the price down, and it should be, in my book, a lot lower than that, but we'll talk about that in a later point in time. Okay, principal plus interest, 2509 32 20 years. It's a commercial loan, so it's got to be 20 years. Okay, but that's my monthly payment on that. Insurance, I am going to pick the number 100. My side-by-sides in Wausau and Weston are roughly in that ballpark. Our commercial building in town here is actually $200 and some dollars. Taxes, okay? This you figure by mill rate, all right? And usually what they do is they assess you according to what you bought the property for. That's kind of then the established value of the property. So in town here, we're at $21 a thousand. So take 21 times 300, and you get 6,300. I divide that by 12. So my monthly taxes on that place would be $525 total. Then if I do my math here, 31, 34, 32. Okay? What kind of income am I going to have coming in? I'm going to guess, give or take $100, $1,000 aside. So right around 2,000 to 2,200 max, probably, in that ballpark. Nowhere near that number. Okay? So basically, if it was close, I would then go on to having really looking the property over carefully, getting inside, looking the guts over, figuring out what I was going to have to put into it. I'm guessing, just looking at the pictures, for me to do it myself, materials, maybe a little help from Dean, I'm in the $50,000 to $60,000 to update it. So this is not happening. You know, when you're just starting out, have a good, trustworthy realtor that knows what you're looking for and will bring you those kind of properties. Now, Chris and Ed from town here, they sent me this because they know I'm interested in this kind of stuff. So they sent me a text, hey, this is hitting the market. And I went and looked at it, had a conversation with them. They kind of, they were kind of in agreement on some of the things that we discussed on it. So, you know, I know they're trustworthy. We've got some other realtors in town that are really good. It's small town. You've got to be good to people because the word gets out. But so anyways, this one Chris and Ed sent me, and just looking at the numbers, this one this one is not something I'd be interested in. The next thing I'd look at is, okay, if you're a young couple and you wanted to live in half of it, okay, and then you would have basically maybe in the ballpark of $1,000, give or take a little bit, maybe, to live in one side and then rent the other side out. And so then this starts to make, you got a $2,100 payment. I guess I'm maybe looking at some other things before I'm making that kind of a payment on that piece of property. I'd sooner pay a little bit more and have a little bit more of something to work with. But that's just where I'm at on that. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll look at, right now I'm not buying anything because one, I got too many projects to finish, and my wife has said no more projects until you get this stuff done. And I agree with her. So, on average, I probably look at 50 a year in that ballpark. It quickly gets narrowed down to maybe 5 to consider. And then from there, it quickly gets narrowed down to, then I'll go in and do the inspections and really look it over, put together what my costs are going to be to own it, what the rental market looks like in that area. Is it a good neighborhood? Will it go up in value or down in value? Those are all things that I seriously consider. And then that takes me down to 1 or 2 a year, maybe, that I would consider buying. And like I said, right now, I think we're at the top of the bubble to an extent. I really believe this housing market thing has to kind of correct itself sometime soon. There's got to be something that happens in this economy where we're going to go through a heavy correction on this. So I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting for things to slow down. And the other thing is I got to get my projects done. I got enough right now. I'm retired, and the real estate's been good to us. So I was able to retire early. Doesn't mean I won't do anything down the road, but that's kind of my thought process on that. So hit the like and subscribe button. And hey, if you look at this from a different direction than I have, put it in the comments section. Tell me I'm wrong for whatever reasons. And, I know, yes, you get depreciation on that, but still it's not going to come out at the end of the year. And, put in your comments. Tell me what you're thinking.